Well, I'd forgotten about most of those things. But that was a lovely introduction that I'm sorry my mother couldn't have listened to. She actually came to the first lecture that I gave, where she had attended when I gave a talk in Vanderbilt 2 years ago. And she and my father came. They retired down to the hills of Kentucky, and so they drove over for it. They sat in the back, and at the end, all she could say was, "Why didn't they talk about all your schooling and all your awards and all the rest of it?" And I explained that people don't do that. I've totally lost my train of thought, obviously. Dan is partially correct. He's correct in that I am one of your weapons against this disease, and if I do my job, you're going to have to change the theme for your annual meeting, because you'll need to hold it to go after a different disease. We're not there yet, but we need people who care and people who can make a difference to get us there. And so as you notice, my accent is from the States. I was born in Chicago, grew up in Michigan, was educated on the East Coast, the places where Daniel talked about. But the same values that were instilled upon me when I grew up in the middle of the country are the same I still have. I still have my Cubs hat. I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about why I'm here and why I'm so happy to see all of you. So I have a few slides here. When I give talks, I just can't go off the cuff like Mr. Colangelo and Dr. Von Hoff. But I'm just going to walk you through a few things. They're going to be less scientific than Dr. Von Hoff talked about, though. So I think of pancreas cancer as mission possible, but it is a mission. And we need a plan, and we need some players. We need some weapons. But mostly we need to focus because we have a defeatable enemy. And our job is to put runs over the plate, put the ball in the basket, score when we're in the red zone. And we're getting to the point where we are trying to take shots on goal now. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Again, not by showing a whole bunch of science, but just reflecting. So as you heard from Dan and from Mr. Colangelo, imagine if 40 people were lost tomorrow. What would that be? Well, that would be a natural disaster, some new funny disease, or maybe some folks misbehaving to a large extent. And when that would happen, we would deem that unacceptable. Our response would be those poor people, and then the response of the various folks who try to keep us safe, be they local or national, would be to band together and sort it out and prevent it from happening again. Again, that's 40 people, if we just lost 40 people. But what if that happened 1,000 times a year? And that's pancreas cancer. So somehow, quietly, we've had multiple natural disasters. So that's where we're starting from. And can we do something with that? Well, when you start from that point, you have to wonder, where are you today? And this is a picture from the Rodin Museum in Paris, and that's a gate. That's a gate you don't want to be looking at. Okay? That's the wrong gate. We want to be finding a different gate. And so what can we do? What can we do to solve this? And you heard some ideas about this. Maybe we can work on the molecular details of pancreas cancer. Maybe we can find a medicine or a vaccine, something to make the disease go away or prevent it from showing up. And yeah, we need that. We need new medical treatments for this disease. But I think we're on the path for it, and over the last day or so, I've heard about some of the new ideas happening at TGen through PCRT. And the ideas are great. The problem is they can't test all their ideas. So it's as if you were being told we have weapons that we know will work, but we're not being allowed to test them. Well, you can't win the war if you can't test your weapons. So we need those new weapons. We need new medical treatments. And as was already discussed, this is the cancer that shows up too late. And what does that mean? Does it mean someone's not taking care of themselves, not seeing their doctor to make sure their blood pressure is okay and their blood sugar is all right? No. It means people playing by the rules, taking good care of themselves. All of a sudden, this disease comes up on you and bites you. This is different from other types of cancer. This is the worst one. So we need to be smarter about how to catch it early. Now, when we can't catch it early, which is most of the time, we still can't do much to help people. People are suffering. It hurts when you have pancreas cancer. And you're losing weight really quickly, and you feel awful. It's like having food poisoning and it doesn't go away. And probably everyone's had food poisoning once. Imagine if you still had it from when it was last week or 2 months ago. So we need to break this problem down and understand it and help those folks suffering from it. And I think we're getting to the point where we're actually starting to look through the door. And now we have to go through the door. So how do we do it? So I like the outdoors. England's an island, but the ocean's actually not so hospitable. This is not a fish from England, but this is from Boston Harbor. And so when you're a scientist, you have a lot of ideas. You have a lot of fishing lures. Sometimes you use a net. And you catch fish if you try to catch individual fish. And that can work, but as you know, you could be doing it for hours. And so the way that we've done this is we have tried to learn about the disease by taking the common mouse that runs around outside and occasionally gets into your garage, maybe occasionally into your cupboard. We've taken those fellas and we have engineered them using the technology that Dr. Trent has helped to pioneer, just by changing a few of the bases in the genome, a little bit like the Jurassic Park image that you have, but not quite as extreme. We didn't get into the sap in the tree and get the DNA out. It's simple. You can grow the stem cell from a mouse, and these manipulations are actually pretty pedestrian now. But by doing so, we were able to turn on this RAS gene you heard about in the pancreas and generate pancreas cancer in a mouse. And if you just look at the slide on the lower right-hand side, the pictures just show you what cancer looks like under the microscope. But on the right-hand side, there's a little box that says the mouse has a syndrome. A syndrome is a collection of symptoms and signs. And this mouse has a syndrome because it doesn't just have a tumor. It's losing weight because the muscles are getting thin. And it has spread of the disease through the animal. It has many of the signs that our patients have. And the animal starts to show signs of distress. So it has the disease. And with this animal, we've learned about the cancer. So I'm a human doctor, obviously. I take care of patients. I love my patients for as long as I can keep them alive. But from this mouse, I've actually probably learned more about the nitty-gritty of the cancer than I have from my patients, at least in terms of the science of the disease. And so you see the circus mouse on the right that's spinning around to show off. That's the tumor right in the middle. I don't have a pointer here. Maybe I do. So this is the tumor. This is the bladder of the mouse. That's the heart. And the tumor lights up when you give the mouse a substance that's radioactive. You can also see the tumor using an ultrasound machine, just like the obstetricians look for babies, or using a magnet to look at the chemical environment of water. That's an MRI scan you've heard about for when you hurt your knee. You can actually see the inside of your body pretty well also. So here's the pancreas tumor. And if you put a substance into the mouse that is magnetic, you get an outline of the tumor. So there's the pancreas tumor, there's the spinning mouse, and we use this tool to learn about the disease. And with it, we've identified some medicines that Dr. Von Hoff is putting into patients here in Arizona and throughout his network, which is an international network, as you heard. So we're doing this, and we're all excited because we have all these new ideas, which again are new weapons to fight against pancreas cancer. And so we have all these great ideas, but we've noticed that we have more ideas than we have resources. And and as we look for these resources, it's harder to concentrate on our initial idea. And so what are we trying to do to get around that? Well, it's actually hard for me to read these words. We have to prioritize. So yesterday when we were meeting with PCRT, we had to decide what's the most important play to run. What's the most important weapon to try? And this is the same sort of thing you have in your own house when you decide on your budget, or in your business when you decide what's going to be the best new opportunity for this business. So we did that yesterday, and we had 10 ideas, and at the end of it, Dan says we could fund 1, maybe 2. And that's a crying shame, because probably of the 10, at least half are worth trying, maybe more, maybe 8 of them. But that's the reality. So we have more ideas than we have manpower or resources to fund. But we have some good shepherds, and that's you all, right? So the mattress industry, who I haven't met personally before, but I've experienced personally, you all are keeping us comfortable in the evening and making it so our patients are going to be more comfortable today, tomorrow, and the next day. And that's terrific. These pictures, incidentally, were from Provence, just north of Nice, and I was actually stuck behind all these sheep. And I took these pictures, and I use them for different things. When I'm giving a talk and I'm running out of time, I show the picture of the sheep running. And I say, we're going to speed up now. But I thought the Good Shepherd analogy would be good for you guys. And so you all, by your generosity today, by taking the trip and purchasing the necklace, and I guess soon to purchase these Olympic champion basketballs, are really serving as the life vest for a lot of patients with pancreas cancer. This is actually an Italian life vest, so it looks a little bit funny, but works the same. Because in the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make it so all our patients can enjoy that sunset that you see right there. And we want them to have a lot of sunsets. And I think we can get there. But we now have to focus and get the ball over the goal line. And I think we can do it. And with folks like you, I know we can do it. So thank you for supporting first Roger and his late mother's foundation, which is a noble cause. Thanks for putting other people before yourself in that regard. If we can solve this problem, the others will fold, simply. So thanks again.